All right, have and have not fans. Now, this one is again a kind of video where I'm just throwing the question off to you all, and I would love to get your answer. The question at hand is death too predictable in the haves and the have-nots? And what I mean by that is, has it gotten to the point, and again, what we're 5 or 6 seasons into the series as a whole, is death too predictable in the sense that we know for a fact that nearly every season, or heck, even the mid-season finale and then finale, that somebody or a group of people will die? And I believe, me and my mom were talking about this even like season 1, season 2, where, hey, maybe it'll get to the point where everybody's going to be killed off and Catherine's going to wake up from a dream, and there's a link to the video, is Catherine Cryer dreaming, the haves and the have-nots, on the sidebar of this video. So I would definitely suggest checking that out. You should see a little icon pop up in the right hand corner of the screen. And again, if you're an older fan of the haves and the have-nots and you've lived long enough to know about a show called Dallas, then I believe the Who Shot JR, or I believe that was a storyline. I think I don't know. I'm sorry, I was born in 91, so I might have grown up with Dallas, but maybe when I was like a kid. I think it was coming on TV before I was born and when I was a child. But either way, my mom was like, you know what, I remember when so and so got shot and then it turned out to be a dream, and then everything just went back to normal. But I mean, that's not and I think I've done like 2 blogs and maybe 3 videos on that, so I really don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but we'll do it one more again right now. Basically, remember when Catherine was in the hospital when she was getting she had breast cancer and she was getting surgery? Now, the theory from my mom is that during that time, either when she began coughing and it looked like she was about to, pass out, and Hannah ran out of the room to get the nurse, or when she was going into the surgery and, of course they put her under to, perform the procedure. My mom is like, during that time, Catherine, obviously is asleep and is having like an out-of-body experience, and it's experiencing everything around her and her mind. Like, she's imagining, Amanda being killed, Wyatt's hit and run. Basically, during that dream, she's having a nightmare about all of her greatest fears in regards to her children coming true. But then rises the question, okay, how does she know about these characters she's never met before, like Charles and Justin and, all this stuff? And again, I can definitely understand how that's a bit ridiculous, if you will, but there are some signs that it might be true. Like when I believe she was talking to Hannah when she first came over to Hannah's house after Amanda's death, it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It feels like I'm in a dream. It's like I'm sitting right here, I'm alive, but I don't feel quite right, And even Jim said the same thing when he was in jail about Amanda's death. So, one could say that, hey, you never know. That would be an interesting plot twist. I wonder how fans would feel about that if everything turned out to be a dream. But not to kind of, just beat around the bush here. I just wanted to get your thoughts in terms of, do you feel that people being killed off is a necessity for this show to be a success? I mean, I know there are plenty of characters on the haves and the have-nots that people want to see dead, like Candace and Veronica. But at some extent, I just hate when characters are killed off, but they still had, at least in my mind, and you all know how often and how in depth I am with this show, that characters are killed off before their plot lines and storylines seem to actually have been fulfilled. Like, Jennifer telling David about, hey, I don't believe that Amanda's death was a suicide, but I've been conducting my own investigation on it. Or, and again, I said this before, Warlock, I feel like he was just killed off in such a terrible way. But, congrats on him, John, being married in real life recently. But also, I believe he said he was working on new projects. I believe somebody sent me an article like a couple of months ago, but he's apparently doing some big stuff now, and I'm really proud of him for that. And I believe Quincy Maxwell was doing the same thing in real life, moving on to bigger and better things. But while they were on the show, they were really killing it, no pun intended. But it's like I said with Warlock, like that gang war was something I predicted a couple of years ago, and I was disappointed in the execution because it was completely one-sided. Warlock just acting all arrogant, doing stuff that Warlock doesn't seem like you actually do. And even Maggie Day, same thing, losing her cool after David got in jail. Then she got killed trusting Veronica for some reason, and I just hated to see that. So with that being said, just throwing the question out there, do you think that death is something that's just well, too obvious in the show, because instead of focusing on storylines, well, I guess you could say we do focus on storylines to kind of see, well, this character, it looks like they really don't have anything else to bring to the show, so they might as well be killed off. Do you think that instead of picking people off either one by one or as a group, that these characters should have their storylines fulfilled in terms of everything is played out and then they get killed off? Not to mention, it looks like we got a twofer, or maybe a three, if you will, between Veronica, Melissa, and the baby. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts on, do you think that too many characters are being killed off, the haves and the have-nots? And if so, let me know if there's any alternatives that you might have in mind.